Hey, what is up everybody? How are you guys doing? Now, prepping is personal. Prepping is very personal. Now I want to talk about that a little bit today. So what is up everybody? How are you guys doing? Thanks for checking out this video. Support for the channel is awesome. And yeah, prepping's personal. This one is completely off of the cuff. I thought of the idea to make this video pretty much walking from my living room to go take care of the chickens, and I stopped halfway through at the camera and decided to shoot this video. But I think this is very true, and I think it's something that has to be emphasized a little bit more in the YouTube space, at least online space, when it comes to prepping. Now, every single person, literally down to the individual, has a different situation that they need to prep for. They have different circumstances, they have a different income, they have a different plan for land, they have different living conditions, they have different families. Everything is absolutely different, and there's probably going to be millions of combinations of ways to prep for each individual. So what works for me might not work for you. And things that don't work for me might be the best case scenario for you. But only you know how you need to prep, and you got to figure that out. Now, of course, there are the absolute basics: food, water, shelter. Everybody should have those. But past that point, it's completely personalized. For me, holding chickens, having chickens on the land, building a big coop like I just did, that is for my situation. That is for my situation with the predators that I have in this specific area, like literally this neighborhood, if you want to call it a neighborhood, this area of the city. And I'm actually hearing a lot more online right now on Facebook groups and stuff like that. People are losing their chickens by the masses. Nobody really knows what it is. Got a tail to make an appearance today. The old Bonnie. She's soaking wet. I think she's been outside all night. Anyway, prepping. When people come out and tell you these 5 things you need to know, and I might start doing something like that, but not really like must-have type things. There are a couple things that I've made videos on that I have considered must-haves, and I think that's more of a general blanket on things. But I really don't go down that road. Now, when it comes to a lot of prepping channels, a lot of people are going to tell you what you need to do. Take it into consideration. Think about it. Think of how that's going to apply to your life. Think of whether you need that or not. You know, there's people saying that you need 15 pocket knives. Do you really need 15 pocket knives? Maybe that works perfect for that guy. Maybe that survivalist that's gonna bug out and go live in the desert somewhere needs 15 pocket knives. Do you need 15 pocket knives? Maybe not. Maybe you do. I'm not here to tell you that. So when I do prepping channels, or when I do prepping videos specifically about prepping, I try to emphasize on this is what works for me. It may or may not work for you. Things that I might suggest. There's a lot of channels out there though, like I was saying, say you have to buy this, you have to have these things, you have to have this tent, you have to have a wood stove, you have to have all these things. Take it with a grain of salt, please. Yeah, there's no right answer. The only right answer for your prepping situation is what you know up in your head. Now that kind of comes down to, well, you got to figure it out. You have to figure out what you need. You have to figure out a plan, how to go about things, how you're going to be sustainable, how you're going to get through hard times, whatever hard times you think are coming. Now, I might think there's economic hard times coming, and you might think there's the threat of cyber attacks or nuclear war, and that's what you're preparing for. So the way you prepare is going to be different than the way I prepare. Again, I'm going into prepping with this mindset. So I'm preparing a little bit for nukes. I'm preparing a little bit for economics. I'm preparing a little bit for social unrest. I'm preparing a little bit for every scenario I can get. And I'm not really honing in and specifically prepping for a certain thing, even though I talk about cyber attacks and things like that quite a bit. That is my highest concern, which we are seeing some cyber attacks around the world right now that are making quite the impact, you know. The power outages over in Europe and Spain and Portugal and stuff like that. Well, I still haven't heard an answer for that. They still don't know. The unknown could be cyber attacks. They haven't released any video footage, for instance, of, you know, the substation that blew up or something like that. There's just nothing. But definitely, learn what you need. Learn the things that you, your family, your loved ones, your household, your neighborhood, your community needs. And then build your preps upon that. So, like I said, I might be doing a couple videos here of like some top things that I think about personally when it comes to my preps. But that may or may not work for you. So definitely know what you want. Know what you want. Know what you need. Learn from YouTube channels. Definitely learn from online. Learn from talking to people. And apply it to your life. Apply everything that you learn. Whether it's from reading books, watching videos, you see something in a movie like Homestead that said, hey, I didn't think about that. Learn as much as you can and then put it into a personal, put it into play personally. I'm trying to think of the right way to say it. But apply it to your life and what you need. So definitely don't listen to everybody online, especially a random dude on YouTube. Take everything to consideration. Use common sense. Use your knowledge. Use your intelligence. Figure it out. That's the best thing I can say to a way to prep. Figure it out, right? Not a lot of help, but that is the truth. That is the way it goes. If you listen to just what other people do, you're going to fail. In fact, before I close it up, I was just online on Discord talking with a completely different group of financial people. And yeah, they were talking about food and, you know, the supply chains and stuff like that. And I said, well, you know, here's kind of what I'm doing. You know, I've got chickens, I've got garden, I've got trees, I got fruit, I got berries, I got all these things to be sustainable. And they came back and said, oh, well, you know, I tried that once. Well, one guy said he tried that once and it was so inefficient as far as financials go that he quit. And I'm like, well, did you just randomly listen to people online? And then it was crickets, and I never talked to the guy again. Yes, if you're looking at gardening and you want to grow some tomatoes and cucumbers and squash and things like that, and you listen to everybody online, yes, you're going to be paying about $10 a tomato. Because according to the internet, and we all know this, if you don't do the absolute best, you're just a piece of crap. You don't know what you're doing, you know, and you need to go back to school. Now, like when it comes to gardening, there are people that are dropping hundreds, if not thousands of dollars just into chemicals, organic chemicals maybe, to make sure that absolutely everything is perfect before it goes on to YouTube, because the world will destroy you if you don't. And that's what people learn on. That's what people think is the standard to do things at. Now, I don't even care if it, like photography, I use photography for a big example. You know, I always chimed in on forums and things like that, like use your phone. If you got a couple $100 that you want to spend on a camera, use that couple $100 to go to a beautiful place and take pictures with your phone. You can do amazing things with your phone. The cameras have gotten great. You don't need a $15,000 rig to go take pictures of a tree. You just don't. You don't need $500 in organic chemicals and compounds and compost and stuff like that to get a garden going. You need to learn what goes in your area, what goes in your budget, and work with that. People in the Sahara Desert can grow vegetables with no electricity. So it can be done. Yes, it might not be the absolute perfect, but it's going to get you preps and plant accordingly. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to bring up that example of something I experienced online just this morning. You know, that's people hold the highest standards of the internet to what they have to do, and that is not the case. So that fumble of the words, that applies to prepping as well, because what I tell you you might need to do might not work, and everybody else on YouTube, everybody else online, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you get your information, might not be the best for you. You need to figure that out. So I'll leave it with that. I appreciate you guys watching today. Maybe it's a little food for thought, maybe not. Appreciate any support for the channel. That's awesome, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Till then, peace.